Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate. And it does it with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, I've heard you talk about how new homes are doing well with their sales right now, but many people don't think that they need an agent to buy a new home. I didn't think so until I talked to you. So why should home buyers consider getting an agent to help them buy a new home?
Well, actually, I think the perception out there is agents don't sell new homes. The way you get a new home is you go to a new home location and you go talk to the representative there. And then if you see the model home, you fall in love with the home, you pick the home, the building site, you sign the contract. Why do you need your own agent, right? They don't know. And of course, the salesperson on site is representing the seller. They're not representing you at all. In fact, one of the things that's different about this state is, when we write an offer to make an offer on a resale home, in most cases, we have to use the state forms, right? So the forms that they provided us. So every licensed agent in the whole state has to use the same exact form that the state provided us, which protects the consumers. Not so much for new construction. They can write their own contract, and their own contract, of course, is going to protect them. So a lot of people don't know that. And so they don't think that there's any need to bring their own real estate agent. And, I don't want you to get me wrong about this. There are some great builders in town that have integrity, that are really good at taking care of their customers as well as my customers. But there are some that say, hey, you don't really need an agent. We can do this right here. But at the end of the day, there are some things that you may not know, and you certainly don't want to be what I call denied representation. There's no extra cost for the buyer to bring in their own agent. A lot of people think there is, but there really is not. And back during the meltdown, and some of this is probably starting to happen again, history seems to always repeat itself. There were builders that were starting homes. They were building a lot of homes thinking that the flying high market's going to continue. And they don't always wait until a buyer says, okay, I want to start my home from scratch, from the ground up. They will have homes at different levels of construction. First of all, because they know that buyers can't really visualize an empty lot. They can't go stand on an empty lot and see their house on that site. That's why they build models, so you could visualize what the home is going to look like. But they also know that there are some buyers that don't want to wait 8 to 9 months for their house to be built. So they start building these homes. They call them spec or speculative homes that are at different phases of construction. They might be framed. They might be ready to go in a month. They might be ready to go in 2 months. And so that way the buyer doesn't have to wait a really, really long time to finish that home. But there are so many things that have to be ordered in advance, like cabinets take a long time and some of these finishes. So probably by then they've already picked out the colors, that sort of thing. If you're starting from scratch, you have the benefit of picking out your own colors. However, what happened with this one builder is they built all these homes, and then all of a sudden the market started turning, and they had these homes that were in different phases of construction but could not financially maintain the bills. So the few homes that they finished and sold, they charged full price for. And then right afterwards, after closing, they filed bankruptcy, and they did not pay the subcontractors that did things like ducting and electrical work. And because those buyers didn't have a real estate agent, and they didn't know how to write, and they didn't know how to ask the right questions, those subcontractors successfully got mechanics liens against those homes. So when those buyers had to resell those homes, they had to pay again for ducting and electrical because the bankrupt builder couldn't pay it. So that's one scary thing that you have to worry about. Also, how does a buyer know what questions to ask? They've never done this before. They walk in and they see the model and go, I love it. I'll take it. It's beautiful. It must be you're starting at price, correct? Well, not so much. Some builders actually will really fully upgrade the model home and it'll look amazing. But if you wanted to buy one like that, it's probably going to cost more than you think because many of the improvements that they put in that home are what they call upgrades. So that's kind of a gotcha as they see you fall in love with the model and they're like, oh, well, that's not really included. You have to add that on. That's another $15,000, et cetera. So you also need to know what is included. Typically, refrigerator is considered personal property. So chances are they will not include it, but you might be able to ask for it. Typically, air conditioning is not included. Typically, garage door openers are not included. Typically, window coverings are not included. So there's a lot of things after you buy the house that the homeowner is going to have to turn around and pay for, like landscaping, including all those things I just mentioned. And then what are the rules about landscaping and how much time do you have to do landscaping? And then some builders will give what they call incentives where they will pay some of your loan closing costs. Some of them will give discounts. Okay. But if the buyer doesn't know what question to ask, they've got the salesperson there representing the seller trying to get the most money out of the buyer. They're not going to offer up these kind of options for the buyer. And then what if they have a house to sell? What if they go under contract, but they have a house to sell and they cannot buy that home without their house selling? What happens to their earnest deposit? All these things have to be discussed and thought through. And you really need somebody on your side when that happens. So I'll tell you another story. I have a client I'm working with now, but they were working with a different agent and went and contracted with a builder here in town. They had to put up $25,000 earnest money. That's a big check. Normally, earnest deposits are about 1% of the sales price, but this was $25,000. And their representative that they had never read the contract, never double checked because they knew going in they had to sell a home in order to buy this home, right? They never checked to see if that $25,000 was refundable. Well, guess what? When they had to pull out of the contract because their house wasn't sold, that $25,000 deposit was not refundable. And even though the builder went on to sell it to another buyer just a few days later, they would not give them their deposit back. Richard, I don't know too many people that can afford to just lose $25,000 and not get a house.
You know, these days things are tight and they're tight for everyone. $25,000 is a lot of money. And for them to turn right around a couple of days later and sell it, that's so frustrating just to hear about it.
It's
I
terrible.
can't imagine what it would be like to be the person, or especially if they didn't have an agent.
Right. And that's not the only builder I've heard about that says, nope, you put up your deposit, you give me 10% down or whatever it is non-refundable no matter what you do. Right. So you need to read that contract and be really clear of what's in there before you stroke a check like that, because that's a lot of money to put at risk if you're not really sure you're going to actually buy this home. And, you know, not all homes are sold through the listing service or through Zillow, which a lot of the buyers think Zillow is the MLS, which it is not. It's a tech company that copies the MLS and tries to get you to call them so they can sell leads to real estate agents. That's actually what Zillow is. But they have a great website. I'm not going to deny it. I used it when we helped our son. We helped our son buy a home in 29 Palms because that was the best choice out there. But not every home is on Zillow, especially not every new construction home. We find that many of these available homes are coming up or available or not on the market yet for various reasons. You need to have an agent there that knows how to ask the right questions. If we've narrowed down which location and which builder you want to work with, you have to have somebody on your side to ask the right questions. I remember a couple of years ago, Richard, I don't know if you remember this day, maybe not, but it was a December day and I had a buyer looking at new homes and it was so cold, even almost all of the model homes closed. All of the construction stopped. It was frigid. It was like sub-zero. But not Barb. She's out there with her client, showing property. And my client had this really warm coat that she got from Eddie Bauer. So I was picking her brain, like, where'd you get that? Because I want to get one. And I did. And, but it was really cold that day. And sometimes the builders leave their homes unlocked, like the frame ones, of course, are unlocked. And so we're wandering around, we're just peeking at homes. And we looked at this one home, and it was pretty clear that it was already under contract. It had a buyer's name on there, but, I said, maybe we should find out if it's available. And sure enough, we did reach out to the builder when they reopened the next day when it was a little bit warmer, and that buyer could not buy. And so we ended up getting that house for my buyer, and no one else knew it was available, which is really cool. So my name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. I am the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice, and I've been here in the business since the 90s. And we're talking about why buyers should hire their own experienced agent to help them buy a new home. And when you come back, we're going to talk about some due diligence to make sure that you're making the right decision. So if you are thinking of making a move, we offer a free VIP home buyer service. You can give us a call anytime at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
We're talking with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty on Your Real Estate Voice. You can reach Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Now, Barb, when people buy new homes, they're assuming it's like a new car, under warranty, bumper to bumper. Wait, is that all true?
Typically it is for new construction, although you want to know up front if there are any issues, right? And so the problem is some of the builders will actually sort of discourage you from bringing your own home inspector to come take a look at the house, just because when they build the home, they are getting inspected by the county every step of the way. However, they make mistakes just like everybody else. And I have had my buyers find half-eaten hamburgers stuffed in the framing, smoking out on the back patio, painting a house after they put carpet down. I had another buyer that actually found hail damage because she had just gone through putting a new roof on her house. She found hail damage before closing, which was really smart, because had she closed on the house and then filed the hail claim, the deductible would have been on her and not on the builder. So there's a lot of due diligence that you should do. And that's why you need a real estate agent to help you go through the whole entire process. And that is what we do. We actually offer a free VIP home buyer service where we're going to be with you every step of the way. So you're not denied representation and you know exactly what you're getting into. I'll tell you one other quick story. I actually purchased a new home for an investment back. This is back in 2000. Nice, good builder, nice home. But again, they make mistakes. So I buy the home, I put it on the market. It closed, I think in the September. And in January, right after we had a big snowstorm, I get a call from the tenant going, "Hey, it's snowing inside the basement downstairs." And so what had happened is they forgot to put the board that connects the foundation to the siding down there, right there with the basement. So when the wind was really howling, it actually blew snow inside the home. So, the builder fixed it, of course, but my point is having a pre-inspection, having somebody that cares about your due diligence is absolutely critical. So if you do want that VIP buyer service, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com.
Are new homes more expensive than existing ones? We'll talk about that. We're here with Barb Schlinker on Your Real Estate Voice, the radio program. And if you're thinking of selling your home, want to get the most amount of money when you sell, just call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. When we come back, we'll be discussing the top 6 seller mistakes that can cause the home not to sell. Plus, talk about Barb's hot new listing. Stay tuned for that.